if you're representing a good product and service, something you really believe in, it's not that hard. It's explaining more than it is selling. Yeah. If you're peddling something that's not so good, then it's tough. But the fact is, you're the owner. You can make it better. So you're in an ideal, you're product development and you're also sales.
This is Brent Richardson, and welcome to the Business Minutia Podcast, where our focus is on the details of business that are often passed over by traditional classes and leadership training. We focus on the stories of real people who have tried, failed, and learned through their experiences and are willing to share their lessons with others. Jamie, where's the instruction manual for how to run a small business?
I don't think there is one.
It's similar to having a child.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't get the instructions, you just get sorted out. I think there's some people that feel like they need a certain college degree, and you see tons of people who are successful without that. Not that college is a bad thing necessarily, but you're not going to get any instruction manual there, although there's some really good courses and things you can learn.
Yeah, but how do you know what's credible and what's not?
Yeah, and it's difficult. And today it's so different. There's so much information that's available online. You can learn just about everything you need in terms of running a business, just a matter of finding it. But having somebody to help you navigate through all of that can be really valuable. And so having really good mentors and people that you're connected with that have done that have been there is very valuable.
Yeah, and I'm a massive researcher. So as soon as we started going on this entrepreneur journey for our listeners, I hit the internet and tried to find all of the places online that can possibly help Dallas small business owners. And I came across a place called SCORE. I had never heard of them.
Right. I hadn't either. In fact, we talk a little bit about that they want to get the word out. But the more I listened to Bob, I'm like, oh, wow, people need to be aware of this resource.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. They have all of these entrepreneurs that have been there, done that, and now they are for absolutely free mentoring other entrepreneurs who want to be successful.
Yeah, if you're a small business owner, and specifically if you've not been hit by COVID yet, right? Or even if you have, these are folks you should be reaching out to brainstorm and get some ideas going in terms of how to pivot and things. This could be nonprofit or for-profit that they support. Right?
Yeah, definitely one of the best kept secrets in Dallas.
Yes, and they've got workshops.
Until now.
And they've got workshops that they're putting together, and now those I think sometimes are free and sometimes there's a fee for those. And I told Bob myself that's definitely something that I'm interested in being involved in. Without further ado, please welcome Bob Barrese.
Well, I was born and raised in Chicago. I worked, first real job was as a commercial insurance salesman for a large insurance company selling workers' compensation to small business, mid-sized business, and ultimately national accounts. Got into sales management, was eventually brought into their home office where I got involved in developing products for large accounts. Went to work for some smaller companies, started a consulting firm, and I formed probably 25 captive insurance companies in my career, which is like starting a business. You have to get financing, you have to know the marketplace. And my daughter lived in Dallas. She had a yoga studio on Lemon Avenue for 16 years, helped her with that. And one day she came and showed us that she was going to have a baby, and we decided to move to Dallas 6 years ago, and heard about SCORE. At the time, it was the Service Corps of Retired Executives. I was retiring, and I decided that in my career, the thing I enjoyed the most satisfaction came from people that I'd managed and mentored and brought along who are very successful now, and I thought I could get a little bit of that at SCORE, and so I joined. And I've been involved in outreach. I've been involved in the hiring of mentors, and now I've accepted the chapter chair position.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about SCORE. What does it do for people who don't know anything about it?
Well, SCORE's been, it's a not-for-profit involved in business mentoring and education. It's been around for over 50 years. We have, I think, 300 chapters around the country, 100,000 volunteers. In Dallas, we have currently 70 mentors with specialties across every conceivable industry. We have others called subject matter experts who can be called in when there's a need for a deeper dive. We have just volunteers who help us with some of the administrative work. We just have a couple of full-time employees that we've hired to help us with intake and assignment of clients to the right mentors, which is really a task sometimes.
Sure.
And then we put together probably 24 workshops each month. Some are free, some are paid because we have to exist.
Mm-hmm.
We are a resource partner with the Small Business Administration. So we're supported by them in part, but most of our operating revenue comes from the workshops and from fundraising and donations. So many of our workshops are sponsored. A lot of banks work with us. So, I still mentor. I take 3 clients every Thursday, 1-hour sessions. We help them, dig down into the details of their plan. Sometimes we give them homework. Sometimes we give them too much homework. They never come back. And we do have some standards. We do have a training program for mentors. They go through a pretty extensive online training now, and then they sit in with experienced lead mentors for a period of time. They attend all of our workshops, and they ultimately become certified.
Well, I'm sitting here just shocked that I had not heard of you guys, because what a powerful resource to make available to people thinking about becoming business owner, or new young business owners, which I know lots of, and they have lots of questions, and they come to me and I go, well, I don't know. Let me go see who I can find. But this will be a great resource to give and make available to those people.
The other day I Googled business mentors in Dallas, and I was happily surprised to see SCORE was the first listing.
All right.
So we did that right. Yeah, a lot of people don't know us. And, again, my hope is that I can spend a lot more time getting the word out about SCORE.
Okay. So when somebody, I want to learn a little bit more about how you identify mentors, but before we get to that, if I'm a brand new, the example I give is we have a story that we tell throughout our podcast episodes. A friend of mine had started a garage door and gate business that he's off and adventuring in right now. So is there any kind of limitations on the kinds of businesses that would typically contact you, or is it pretty wide open?
No, I mean, we take for-profit. We have 3 people who specialize in not-for-profit businesses.
Okay.
Last week, I was spoken with a fellow who said he was from Long Island, New York. He found me on the national website. We were talking for a while. I asked him how things were in Long Island, and he told me he was actually in Bratislava, which I'm not even sure where that's at. He couldn't get into the SCORE system unless he put down a U.S. zip code.
Okay.
So I worked with him for a while, and then I said, I really shouldn't be working with you. This is for U.S. businesses.
Yeah.
So that's probably the restriction is, if you're a business owner, you are thinking about operating a business, we're there.
And so how would someone interface and get in contact with you guys to identify a mentor or get help?
Well, usually if they're referred to us, they'll call we have an office in Addison. We did have an office in Addison. We're all, virtual now, but we have an intake person, a scheduler at that office. And we get many of our referrals through the national website. They have a Find a Mentor page where you put in your location, if you need help in marketing, startup, whatever, and it'll give them a choice. But most of them come through the local office, and they'll be in touch with Donna LaRoque, who's our scheduler, and she will go through a series of questions about what their business idea is, what their business is, what kind of help they're looking for. And she has a spreadsheet that we've developed with all the mentors, their skills, when they're available, how they mentor. Some people mentor, used to be in person, now it's video. Some will do email mentoring. I'll do anything but phone, because phone just lends itself to a couple of quick questions, and you don't get into the, people say, well, how do I go about licensing my business? Well, the bigger question is, should your business be licensed? What is your reason to have a business? What do you know about the world? What do you know about competition?
Yeah.
all that stuff. So we hope to get into a conversation with people to understand, we don't want to do anything to kill the dream, but it's better to find out early than to spend months. As an old salesperson, I used to tell people, don't go 4 months working on that prospect and then at the proposal hear from the guy that he doesn't make the decision.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ask early.
Yeah, absolutely. So someone would contact, and then they would go through this process to identify a good mentor, and then they would work maybe whatever session makes sense with that particular mentor schedule.
So Donna would send me an email and say, here's this person, here's what I have on them. And what I'll usually do is I'll write to the person by email and say, listen, looking forward to meeting you. I have these questions about your business. And so I'd like to get a little information beforehand, allow me to do some research and be better prepared for the meeting. And then I'll arrange to do a Zoom session with them.
Okay.
And so I believe in preparing before, even though, I've started a lot of businesses and the basics of starting a business are pretty much the same. I may not know all there is to know about dry cleaners or, the whole industry and what the challenges are. So I feel it's incumbent upon me to do some research to get as educated as I can.
Wow.
Before we even have the session.
Wow. What a great resource to be available for folks. Yeah, we definitely need to get the message out to let people know. So someone would call or go through your website to identify. We'll share this with our listeners as well, so they can have access to that. Tell me a little bit about the identification process of mentors. How do you guys find all these folks that are available to do this? This is free service that you're offering to people, right?
How do we find mentors? Yeah. So, it's interesting. I've handled recruiting for the last year, and so I'm the one who does all the interviewing and pretty much makes the decision of who we want as a mentor. We get a steady supply of applicants through our national website. I can't tell you, I must have gotten over 100 last year. Now, of those 100, I think I hired about 11.
Okay.
And what our challenge is we don't want to just be a group of retired people. Mm-hmm. But there are challenges in bringing in young people. Mm-hmm. If you're 40 years old and you work a 9-to-5 job, the odds are it's going to be tough for you to make time and be available. On the other hand, if you're 40 years old and you own your own business and you're successful to the point where you make your own hours, that usually makes a pretty good mentor because they've had a business of their own, they've worked it, they're successful.
Sure.
So trying to get that mix of experience, the older group and mixing in the younger group has been the challenge. And I think we've done a lot on that right now in the last year or so.
Okay. And the mentors are compensated in some way when you're paying, or they're doing it free of charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only paid people are the lady I talked to you about, Donna, that does the intake, and then we have a lady who's our event coordinator.
Okay. She
helps us with all of our workshops.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about the workshops. Give me some examples. What kind of workshops do you guys put on?
Well, we have sort of our 101, do you know what it takes to start a business? And that focuses it pretty much on what you'd think it would. We have some more detailed, such as how to work with QuickBooks. We have financials for the non-financial manager. We have marketing classes. We have one of our mentors is very big in the consulting business. I think he was past chairman of the Consultants Association. He does how to start a consulting company. We have workshops on how to start a nonprofit, how to do government contracting. And I'm working on one now, and it's going to be a series called Post-COVID Business Opportunities.
Wow.
We're talking to a lot of people and trying to put together, some really informative information about where the opportunities may be, different post-COVID landscapes that may occur. We've developed a core curriculum that we have every month, and now we're looking to add to that curriculum with topical, compelling new workshops.
Okay.
And some of them are free. Some of them we charge a fee for, but it's never much of a fee.
Sure. And most of them, I guess, today are virtual. You're doing them.
Yeah, they're all everything's virtual now. And, Dallas is not ready for us to open up in the office. Our mentors, again, a number of them are elderly and may have some conditions. So we're not going into the office. But we found, like I was always one who said, I've got to see him in person.
Sure.
I got to look him in the eye.
Yeah, I like it better too.
Yeah, but this works, it works. I mean, I'm looking forward to the day we can go back to the office and do it.
Sure. Yeah.
But, the workshops, it's just like my daughter's business. When she had the brick and mortar, if she got 20 people, that was a big class. She can get 90, 100 now.
Yeah.
She's getting people from all over the country. So that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if the name of the game is how many people you can influence and help, then that's winning, right?
Right.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about the pandemic, and have you guys seen more opportunities come up and arise as a result of COVID? Have you had any involvement helping businesses pivot?
Well, we had early on, we developed a series of workshops. I think we were doing them every week, along with the SBA, on helping to explain the government programs, the PPL, and all the different loan programs. And those workshops we would get 200-300 people on those.
Yeah.
I wish we would have charged something.
Right.
$5, that would have really helped, but we gave them free.
Yeah.
And so from an activity standpoint, when we look at total services, that's how we're judged: mentoring hours, workshop attendees, some other criteria. Our total hours are up, but mainly because of workshops like that. We've seen a dip in the personal calls and mentoring sessions. That's starting to rise again now too. So there was a dip for us in the services, but we made up for it with workshops like the PPL workshop.
Sure. Yeah.
And now I think it's incumbent upon us to take the lead in helping people think about coming back, how to rebuild, how to reimagine their business.
Yes.
As I say, I've done so much work on this. There's some great videos that Deloitte Touche has put out, and McKinsey has had some reports in the Harvard Business School. But I don't see where most of it drills down to the level of business that we're talking about, the startup, the really small business.
Right.
So we don't have all the answers, but I'm bringing in a lot of our clients who have made the shift or in the middle of making the shift. We'll probably do our first workshop as a free one and just limit it to maybe 20, 25 clients where we can get some good back and forth and learn some more. And then I want to do a series, every couple of weeks on this.
Yeah. Do you have a take or an opinion on like how long you think this will last, what the long-term effects will be in terms of the local economy?
Yeah, I think I don't see it just getting better because of the vaccine.
Yeah.
I see us living with this thing for the next year in some form.
Right.
Now, I have a lot of friends in Italy, and I've talked to them about how bad things were and how relatively good things are now. And, I asked him what did it, he said, well, we got the crap scared out of us, and we all take it seriously. We all wear masks. We all, we're doing the right things, and we've got it under control. And so that's got to happen here. I think it's starting to happen. But, I look at like restaurant business. It's the second largest employer in the country, and it has the highest turnover of any business. They've always had problems. Now they're told they have to exist with 25 to 50% capacity. It's pretty hard to do, but they have an opportunity to think about reimagining their business in terms of how they pay their people. It's going to be tough to find good people. They're starting to experiment with the idea of giving employee-owned operations where they're getting a little piece of the action. People are thinking about how they distribute tips, front, back. People in the back don't get them. People in the front get them. So those are the things I think people have got to think about. The home health and business, like my daughter's yoga studio, before COVID, she was getting hit hard with big corporations who were opening up yoga chains and literally giving it away for free for a month or so. Hard for a small business person to compete with that. So she was already starting to think about increasing her online and her reach. And now she's done it. But the fact is that they'll be coming for her too, the big companies. They'll be online shortly. So, to me, the key is always keep innovating.
Yeah, keep continuously thinking. And we, as we talk to different small businesses that have pivoted successfully, many of them, and I know there's plenty of stories that folks that are not pivoting successfully and friends that have just their businesses is done for. But the ones who you can see that have pivoted successfully almost were at the cusp of a pivot already.
Yes.
Yeah. And they've already been doing something that lend itself this way. And the ones that are not, they're having to think through this now. So is that something that you guys, obviously I would imagine that's a common group of questions and help requests that you're getting for mentors is ideas on how to go pivot.
We haven't been getting them yet, but I think, I'm expecting that to start happening. We've got people now who are primarily still thinking about it in the old way.
Yeah.
And we really have to be out there to try and get them to sort of reimagine this, and I'm probably not the right one to talk about social media strategy and all that, but we've got some great people who do that, and we put on some great workshops. And to me, that's just got to be an integral part of your strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe share a little bit, from your personal experience, as much, I imagine you have tons of wisdom to share, but any particular missteps that you've made in your career business-wise that you'd recommend to people, watch out for this?
Well, I've literally had two careers. One has been in a big corporation, climbing the corporate ladder. And I did it at a time when coming through the sales organization, if you were a producer, you could pretty much name your ticket and no one messed with you. That world has changed. Then I had to go and work in a small business. So when I opened up a consulting company dealing with businesses on how to start their own captive insurance companies, the game for me was to try and get the information that I needed to do an analysis of their business and show them how it made sense to consider this option. And I portrayed myself not as a salesperson, but as a consultant, and other salespeople in the organization would bring me prospects. The biggest mistake I made was in not asking for a fee to do analysis. And so, one day I said, I need $10,000 to do the analysis, and found no one balked. Then I raised it to 15,000 and 20 and 25. And I found out that the big brokers were charging all that.
Sure.
So it helped me with the idea that I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm a consultant, but it gave me more credibility, the fact that I was asking for money. And I kind of look at some of our workshops. We have had a free workshop through the Dallas Library Association forever called How to Do a Business Plan. We might get 150 sign up for it. We might end up with 25 actually showing up. Yeah. I say charge $10 for it.
Sure.
Let's see who's serious about this.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but that's the thing that comes to mind for me.
No, that's really good. Any I wish I'd done this sooner wisdom?
No, I in my career, I've been pleasantly surprised the way things have worked out. I never thought I'd get into sales. It's the last thing I ever wanted to do. Economic necessity forced me to do it. I went into it a little bit older than the average salesperson. I believed strongly in the company that I represented. And so when I talk to entrepreneurs or business owners about selling their product, people don't think they have to sell. You got to get customers. Everyone's a salesperson. And what I keep saying to them is, if you're representing a good product and service, something you really believe in, it's not that hard. it's explaining more than it is selling.
Yeah.
If you're peddling something that's not so good, then it's tough. But the fact is, you're the owner. You can make it better. So you're in an ideal, your product development, and you're also sales. So I just come for everything from a marketing and sales standpoint, because if you don't have a customer, if you don't assess what you offer and who offers something similar in a marketplace, and you can't tell me why yours, is better. You can't give me the why of this. Was it Simon Sinek? I don't know if you've ever seen his starts with why video, but that is generally where I start with most of the mentees that I have.
Okay. Yeah. And so maybe talk a little bit about the mentors that you guys have that are available. And how can we convince our listeners that these folks know what they're doing?
Well, I can tell you that because I've done the hiring for the last year. There are people who have been successful in business. They've either been senior level managers in large corporations, or they have been entrepreneurs themselves and started their own business. Many, like myself, have done both. And then they go through a pretty rigorous certification process. We have a process where they take 200 hours plus online classes with our mentoring methodology. And I'm looking for we have a methodology called SLATE, and it's indoctrinated into us. I can find the SLATE card here. Carry it wherever I go. So SLATE is the steps: stop and suspend judgment. Okay, you hear some crazy idea, don't say it, listen and learn. That's assess and analyze, test ideas, teach with tools, encourage, set expectation setting, and encouraging the dream. So that's essentially the basic mentoring methodology that we teach. After the provisional mentors come in and go through the online session, they'll sit with a lead mentor for 4 to 6 sessions, listening, increasingly getting involved in it. Sometimes they're very good. They'll even take over sometime. And then we ask them to attend a number of our workshops. And ultimately, they'll meet with the president. And after 60 to 90 days, then they'll be presented for certification. So there are people with good background to begin with. There are people invariably who really do want to give back. I mean, we're not paying anybody. It doesn't generally even come up.
Right.
But there are people who want to give back. And like myself, we've enjoyed mentoring people in the past. We generally have the financial wherewithal to do it now. So it's a combination of people who have had accomplishment and who have been trained in a mentoring methodology that's been proven over, 50 plus years.
What's your one piece of wisdom that you like, if you went back in time, Bob, to talk to yourself at 25 or 30 or wherever that key point in your career was, what's the one thing that you might whisper in your ear, the kind of hello younger me, detailed point about your career process or just learning a business that would have helped you be more successful?
Wow. It's amazing. I haven't really thought much about that. For some reason, I think because I started out in sales and I didn't really have a sales mentality. I'm generally not very outgoing. I was generally being successful by preparing. When I made a sales call, I did everything I could to learn as much as I could about the business. Now, we didn't have Google or things like that. We had books that had, something. But when I made calls, I tried to prepare myself, and I learned early on just to listen. When I'd walk into an office and I'd see pictures of dogs or cats, I'd get people started on dogs and cats or hunting or whatever it was. And invariably, people love to talk, and people would tell me a lot about themselves before we ever got to insurance. So listening, I did because I didn't feel comfortable just, people think sales is talking. Well, it really isn't. I gave a proposal years ago and I'm a guy from Chicago, right? And I'm in Biloxi, Mississippi, giving a proposal to a temporary staffing firm. And I got a book this big of proposal material, and I got a guy with me. And we started talking about dogs and hunting and this and that. And next thing you know, it was lunchtime, and we went to lunch. And we got back, and the guy that's with me says, Bob, we got a plane to catch. We got to give that proposal. I said, so it turned out that we were there the whole day talking with this guy, and about 2:00, we got a 4:00 flight. He says to me, I like you guys. And I'm not sure what's in that book there, but I want to do business with you. So it was amazing, just getting to know people, listening, and always be open to altering your views. I think
I like it. That's really good. I remember my other question for you. Can you share any success stories from entrepreneurs that you guys have mentored there at SCORE?
It's not a big one, but one comes to mind was a lady that came to me. She worked at JCPenney in their IT department. And on the side, she had done she'd helped a few friends with their wedding. And she wanted to be an event planner, a wedding planner. And, not that I know a lot about that business, but I did find out there are places like Ring Magazine and all places that you can advertise. There are wedding shows. So I helped her put together a bit of a pitch, a little organization. She went out and got, people interested. She refined her product set to not only do weddings, but she had a gift, it turns out, for flower arrangements. And so she did the floral arrangements on the side. And her goal was to quit her job at JCPenney and make a living doing this. And after about a year, she called me one day and she said, I'm so nervous. I'm going to go into the HR department now and give them my resignation. And I'm just so nervous about this. Do I really want to do this? And I said, listen, you've been working at this for a year now. You've got a pipeline of prospects. You can see where you're going to be able to make a living. You're ready to hire someone to help you with the flower arrangements. So just do it.
Yeah.
And she, it wasn't a big thing, but that was her goal. She became one of SCORE's mentees of the year. We gave her a nice plaque and an award. And so to me, that's what it's all about. She, thank God, got out of JCPenney before they, went belly up or whatever. But she's very unhappy with her job, and she had a dream. And, today she's got a successful business. I have not kept in touch with her on what's going on with COVID, but I will.
Yeah.
But a lot of little stories like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. And, I'm continuously amazed as we learn about this Dallas economy, the Dallas entrepreneurs and the mentoring and all these different services that are available. This has kind of been a journey that we've been on for the podcast. And just hearing you and hearing your story about what you guys do, it's encouraging. It's pretty awesome to uncover and see what you guys do. And yeah, I'm really excited to share this message, to share the story. Right.
Yeah, we're excited to get the word out. And, I hope to do a lot more like this. And we're currently looking for some strong marketing people to help us out in that area, social media. So, maybe someone will hear this and volunteer.
Absolutely. Bob, I appreciate the time very much.
What a great interview, folks. You can research this yourself. Just type Dallas SCORE and you can find their website, or you can go to our website and we'll have links to you can get a hold of them and how to reach out and apply and try to get connected with a mentor. If you're a small business owner and you're going through this COVID situation right now, have somebody else, a second set of eyes, a second brain to be thinking through things with you. Why not?
On the flip side, if you have been in business for a long time and are looking for opportunities to give back to the next generation of business owners, look into being a mentor.
Good opportunity. Thanks, folks.